about how to come together as a community and how to really listen to each other. And so I just wanted to introduce Bill and Maya and have them come up, and they're going to lead us through the rest of the.
My name's Maya, and when you were thinking about coming to this event, when you've been thinking about Hillman City, dreaming about Hillman City and all the possibilities, what are some of the hopes that you've had for this area? This is Bill.
So I'm Bill Allen, came down here and we said, wow, so this is a wonderful place to live. We can see that already. So we're really excited to be working with you all and with the steering committee. It's been really fun to get to know folks and to get to know this area.
A timeline back here that really represents, just the long time. We want folks to think about when and where they enter.
We really recognize that this place does have a history, not only in folks who've been here, but other visionary projects and planning projects trying to make Hillman City work better. There have been protests back in the 80s around affordable housing for people that came out of here. So these are struggles that are ongoing. We're the current generation that has to deal with it, those of us who are in the room. And the idea is that as we proceed to share stories with each other and gather more stories from people who might not be here today, we can really begin to build more of a common understanding of what this place is. Because as we know, there's all sorts of plans for Hillman City, right? We got our own plans, and then there's the developers and the city planners and the philanthropies, and everybody has different ideas about what should happen here. Landowners and renters, businesses and residential. So how do we begin to understand what the complexity is of this place so that as a community can take a united stand, not of one voice that's speaking for everybody, but the several voices and the several different kinds of ideas about what should happen here. Over the next 4 or 5 months, my job and mine is to work with the folks in the steering committee and you all to help discover what Hillman City is about, so you can all talk to each other and share a story. 4 or 5 meetings over the next months about this size or bigger, and then a bunch of small meetings in people's homes and houses and smaller community centers and churches, and we hope that you'll help us. One of the things you'll hear about over the next couple of weeks is opportunities to take some of the questions that you're asking each other. How many people are interested to reach out to their neighbors who they don't talk to all the time? Raise your hands high and notice how many people want to do that. The folks who stepped up and have been working this last year, I have a lot of respect for, because they've been kind of like moving in a direction and hoping to find more people to connect with, and they need your help. We need your help. So I want to make a pitch for staying with this process and seeing where it goes. The living room idea that happened last year in front of Carl's store, where people came and there was a living room. There's a bazillion creative, innovative ways for us to reach out to each other.
A process like this, in a way that's positive and productive, some action can be taken now to develop our voice before it's too late.
Also, we talked about connecting. I mean, it's easy to say that you want more diversity here, and it's easy to talk that. And being someone that's black, I can tell you that it's all about face-to-face contact. I'm a business consultant. That's one of the things that I do, and I actually go and I actually meet a lot of these black business owners, a lot of these African business owners. I'm not afraid to, and so if you guys want them to come here, then you got to not be afraid also, and go and meet them. And if you like to get to know them more, then they'll start coming. But if you don't, then it's easy to talk it. You got to walk it.
Part of this vision process includes actively reaching out to and organizing people in minority and immigrant communities, right? So it's not just, this is not what we intend to do, just to have this group, but to actually go to those communities, engage with the leaders in those communities, and invite them to be a part of this process. So diversity is one of the core values of this VisionHillmanC effort.
We talked about cultures and getting to know each other, but really creating a culture here of being able to ask people about their culture, really pushing that to really become culturally literate. Well, we looked a little bit at the whole valley, and we were pretty frustrated with many decades of discussions and not much action, lots of studies, and then the feeling that there's This is sort of the guinea pig area, and then
The culture vibe that we have around the community.
Instead of people shying away from it, how can we get people to come here and realize that it's, you know, it's just like any other place?
There's not a lot of black folks in this room. Bridging those communities is a real challenge that we need to step up to.
And everybody has a story, and I love the diversity. It's not homogenous like in other cities.
And also how we can get the diversity of the neighborhood in the room, which isn't the case at this time. How do we reach out to our neighbors and get more participation? We also mentioned our awareness of the vacant spot down the road and how there's big projects coming there and what the implications could be of that.
I'm really new to the neighborhood. A lot of the people I've met are new to the neighborhood within the last couple of years. A lot of the business owners I've met tonight are new to the neighborhood within the last couple of years, which is awesome. And I love the businesses around here. I frequent them. Part of the reason that displacement happens is because people who have lived here for a really long time, or people who have lived in any place for a really long time, no longer feel comfortable in that place, and it's kind of a opt-out. They move out because they don't feel like the neighborhood really caters to them anymore. And so one thing I would like to see in future meetings is really not only just like diversity, but really trying to draw in some of the long-term residents and the long-term businesses too, to make sure that we're holding true to the vision that they had when they moved into the neighborhood 20, 40, however many years ago.
Around a lot of the concerns that people are feeling and seeing, underutilized space, affordability for middle class artists. There was a great point about that the hope is that this process can be one that everybody can engage in a way that there's not a level of like anger or animosity, but really more about, you know, hope and looking towards the future and what we want to see happen here.
The road diet that is coming, and we have a few business owners who are concerned about the loss of traffic, maybe impacting the businesses, but then also the type of traffic coming through might change a little bit.
Interested in just seeing a small number of tangible projects. And I think it's great just having this initial, plain kind of session, but I'll be interested in seeing how it evolves.
We talked about how we can be an entity that's able to do effective advocacy to the people who believe they have power.
Ideas of fun things we'd love to see, like that would define Hillman City in a really positive, broader way. Like it's not just a place, but like if there was a farmer's market here on Sundays, and so you could, you know, just collectively aggregate some of the amazing global, you know, uniqueness or, you know, goods or antique sale that would just be unique to Hillman City, that would draw people here not just as a drive-through, but as a place to stay and check out.
It was about really finding ways to take ownership of our neighborhood in ways that don't require a huge organizational momentum. You know, a cleanup initiative was the thing that really came out of the conversation, and so we're going to work to see if we can organize, you know, around cleaning up in our neighborhoods, adopting roundabouts, and you know, just those sorts of things, right? How do we take ownership of Hillman City? This is where we live, this is where we work, and how do we come together to make it the best place? How do we make it livable? How do we make it attractive?
We're having a neighborhood brunch in the coolest part of Hillman City, a block that direction. Sorry, folks. And it would be great if, with the email list you sent, if there would be a flyer, because, you know, the weather's getting warmer. It's a good time to begin handing something to our neighbors. And I'm also curious, have you talked about this thing called city council races?
Finding out more about how we can support those businesses that have been here for a long time. May not be as well known. Businesses that are in what was the Harmate Market that has its new name now, but there's a coffee shop, a club, a barber shop, and a clothing store. How can we support those businesses so that in that 3-year vision, where's Hillman City then? They're still here, they're thriving, and whatever it is that they need. If they need us to be going to those businesses, if they need help with signage.
Yeah, so the next large event will be on June 4th.
And where will it be?
And it will be at Rainier Avenue Church, which is, I don't know if you guys know, but it's right there on the corner of Juneau and Rainier Avenue South.